As you will hear in this video, the sound quality is not the best. I want to apologize about that, and I want to explain what happened. This is the story of a young woman who went missing in Mingo County, West Virginia. And as you'll hear in this story, this involves everything from the possibility of her being a police informant, and it's also about police corruption involving the West Virginia State Police, and about an investigation that took place in that, and the possibility that this missing woman may have been in her case was not, the family and the public do not believe that her case was really investigated as it should have been, and some people believe that is because she could have possibly have been a police informant. There's no evidence of that. Now, the reason that I'm talking about this, the sound quality of my video, I made two separate videos about her. One was about her disappearance and information about her, and the other was about the police corruption. Now, I know this is going to sound like a conspiracy theory. I don't know what happened, but neither one of those two videos would upload to my editor. It would always just come back and say this format is not supported. Now, this was your typical MP4 video recorded on my phone, as all of my videos are the same. But for whatever reason, those two videos would not upload. I recorded many other videos and uploaded them to my editor, no problems. But the two videos about this young woman's case would not upload. So what I had to do was use a screen recorder to re-record them from my phone. And so that's what makes the quality of the sound kind of like it's being recorded off of another device, which it basically was. But it was the only way that I was able to complete the video. I don't know why. I don't know why it wouldn't let me upload those two videos. But for some reason it wouldn't. But this is the story of Brittany Duff, who went missing in Mingo County, West Virginia.
Family offering a reward for information in a Mingo County missing persons case. Kevin Horn and his family are desperately searching for their sister Brittany Duff, who went missing June the 12th, 2022. Brittany was from the Kermit area, and her brother says that was the last place that she was seen. He says they were best friends and talked almost every day. Duff is 32 years old, and we were told that she has 4 kids. She is 6 foot 1 inches tall and 130 pounds. She's a white female. Brittany placed a phone call to a friend using someone else's phone and told them that she would be arriving soon. She never arrived. She was last seen near Jenny's Creek in Kermit, West Virginia. She has several tattoos, including the word spark on her neck. She had a star on her stomach and her children's names on her wrist. She was last seen wearing blue jean shorts, a pink shirt, green and white sneakers, sunglasses, and several gold necklaces and bracelets. She was carrying a tan backpack. She left the home on foot carrying her backpack, and troopers said the woman was last seen at a home in Louisa, Kentucky, which is in Lawrence County, which is across the border from West Virginia. Her brother says it is not like her at all to go this long without calling him. She would have called me by now and told me what was going on. She tells me everything. Kevin said Brittany left one of her friends a voicemail. She kept saying, "I'm in Louisa, I'm leaving Louisa." So I don't know if she was trying to say she was in Louisa, that's where she was. or if she was really leaving Louisa and was going somewhere else. But she kept saying she was coming home, but she never did. Kevin says he has been working day and night to try to find his sister. From the time I wake up, I grab my phone and check messages, post messages. I've even drove down to Louisa, which is 3 hours from me, but I drove down there and went door to door with flyers with her picture. The family has set up a GoFundMe and plans to use the money to give a reward in the case.
Brittany placed a phone call to a friend using someone else's phone and indicated that she would be arriving soon. She arrived. arrived. She was last seen near Jenny's Creek Road in Kermit, West Virginia. Brittany has several tattoos, including the word Spark on her neck. She has a star on her stomach and her children's names on her wrists. She was last seen wearing a pair of blue jean shorts, a pink shirt, white and green sneakers, sunglasses, a gold chain and bracelets, and she was carrying a tan backpack. She has brown hair and blue eyes. This article says, first, I would like to thank Brittany's Aunt Sharon for speaking with me about her case. Sharon was very vivid in recalling her childhood and close bonds that she and Brittany shared. Sharon was also helpful in detailing the day that her niece Brittany went missing. So here's what we know about this story. Brittany Duff was born in West Virginia on October 29, 1989. She had 2 older siblings, Kevin and Neil. She was doted on by her parents, and she was described as bubbly and fun. Now, as she became a teenager, Brittany began to get a little bit rebellious.
Kermit, West Virginia sits in Mingo County. It is a very small area with a small population. This small town was a thriving coal mining town. It has unfortunately been renamed Ground Zero for the opioid epidemic. The epidemic was so bad in this small town that a wholesaler pharmaceutical companies inundated Kermit with more than 12 million hydrocodone tablets between the years 2007 and 2012. To put that into perspective, that equals about 30,000 pills for each resident of Kermit. Stick with me because all of this will make sense regarding Brittany's disappearance. Now see, Brittany had gone to rehab and had gotten herself clean, but when she got out, she found herself back with some of the same people. Apparently, she was at a drug dealer's house, and this is what leads some people to believe that she was an informant. I'm not saying she was or she wasn't, but this all kind of ties into this story. According to The Guardian, pharmaceutical companies actually ship opioids to the small town, which is in one of the poorest counties in America. It was so bad that they shipped more narcotic painkillers to Mingo County per head of population than any other place in the United States. Take it one step further, and hundreds of people would line up outside of an old feed store waiting for their prescription while groups of doctors would dole out opioid prescriptions, all set up by a federally convicted pimp fresh out of prison. Kermit, West Virginia had become a vulnerable town. The once booming coal mining town was left to deal with addicted people who desperately needed help. Yet no one came.
I bring up the opioid epidemic that had taken place in the Kermit, West Virginia area. because it created a lot of victims, and Brittany and her husband Clyde were no exceptions. They met and married young, and they both fell into this cycle of addiction and domestic violence. And this went on back and forth throughout their time together. Brittany had become addicted to these pain pills, and I guess that he had as well. They had their children removed from their homes. They had one set of kids, a set of twins, that were first removed and placed in the custody of her uncle. And then later on, they had another boy and girl, and both of those children were also removed from their care. Now, as this went on, it got worse, and it led to an assault where Clyde Duff, Brittany's husband, come to the house where she was visiting or staying, and it's my understanding that this was the home of her grandmother. He kicked in the door. He assaulted Brittany. She was holding her young child. He ripped the child from her arms. He pulled her hair and tried to strangle her, and her brother stepped in, and Clyde had pulled out a gun, a .38, and the two of them began to fight over this gun, and the gun went off, and her brother was shot. Clyde was arrested, and he was charged with both misdemeanor and felony assault, and he did go to jail, but he didn't serve very long. It was I don't know if he was out of jail. This was a question that I had that I couldn't find the answer to in any of the stories that I looked through. Was he out of jail at the time of Brittany's disappearance? And was he questioned? See, here's the thing about it. He would automatically have been a suspect, as other people in the community would have been. But according to the family and according to people in the community, the police never really took this as a serious missing person, and they didn't investigate it in that way. They said that Brittany walked away from her life voluntarily. She was an adult, and that's how they treated it. So they didn't look at him as a suspect. And once this police corruption unfolded and all this stuff started to come out, was Clyde's case even one of those cases that was re-examined? Because keep in mind, once they started investigating these officers, one thing that they did was to go back in to their cases and see how they were handled. And some of these cases were probably overturned, and some of them maybe were retried. They said that Brittany's disappearance was one of the cases that was mishandled, and anybody can look at it and see that it wasn't taken as a serious disappearance investigation. This is another reason why people believe that Brittany may have been an informant and the police knew where she was. Another factor in this is part of the police corruption and the accusations that were made was that some of these police officers were guilty or accused of assaulting women, sexual assault, spying on them with cameras. Was Brittany a victim of one of these officers that she may have been working with? That's just one more theory.
Brittany Horn was born October the 29th, 1989. Her mother would make her dresses and treated her like a little princess. Brittany and her mother had a special bond. She was a fun-loving teenager, and everyone liked her. She had a beautiful smile and 4 precious children. On April the 22nd, 2024, a relative of Brittany's posted a Facebook group, Missing Person Brittany Duff, that law enforcement had used Brittany as a confidential informant. She said that Brittany said that her life was being threatened. Brittany was scared to give up names to law enforcement out of fear that she would be putting her family in jeopardy. The Mingo County Sheriff's Office put out a post stating that they had no missing persons cases and no unsolved homicides. They listed Brittany's disappearance as voluntary. Now, we need to go back in time to 2008 so you can understand this story. Brittany married Clyde Melvin Duff, Jr. soon after she graduated from high school. The two would have 4 children. Unfortunately, Brittany and Clyde had a substance abuse problem, like many other people in Mingo County. Brittany gave birth to twins, and the children would be placed in the custody of her uncle. Later, the couple would have 2 more children. Having their first set of children taken away from them, the two did everything they could to provide for their kids. But because of their substance abuse, the two would have to relinquish custody of their children to her brother. While Brittany struggled with drug addiction, she was also a victim of domestic violence. Brittany finally had enough and moved in with her mother, looking for a new beginning. However, in 2016, Clyde forced his way into the home by kicking down the door. He began a verbal altercation with Brittany and ended up shooting Christopher Horn. Duff told officers that a struggle happened over control of the gun. The 2 men struggled for the weapon. Duff pulled out a knife and stabbed Christopher in the chest. Duff then went on to say during the investigation that the gun went off. Officers would interview Brittany, and she would explain that Clyde had come and engaged her about custody of their kids. Brittany told officers that Clyde had tried to strangle her, pulled her hair, and forced their child out of her hands. Ultimately, Clyde was charged with felony and misdemeanor charges related to the burglary, malicious wounding, 3 counts of domestic assault, 3 counts of domestic battery. And 6 years later, Brittany would vanish off the face of the earth. Brittany did go back to live with Duff one more time, and sadly the abuse began again. Clyde went to prison for theft. In 2022, Brittany decided one last time to start over. Her father had passed away and left her a trailer. She decided to clean it up and try to make a home out of it. She got visitation with her children, and her life was starting to look up. She connected with her aunt who lived out of state and went to a treatment facility for 5 months. Now, when Brittany came back, she found that her trailer had been burned down. So she moved in with her mother. She told her mother that she knew someone had burnt the trailer down and that she believed someone was out to get her. Some people believe she went away. The police want people to believe that she went away voluntarily because she didn't want to bring this danger onto her mother and her children. But where did she go if that was the case? Where is she at out there in the world? Is she in witness protection? Or is she out there living her life somewhere, changed her name and not having any contact with anyone? I don't know about that. I think that rarely ever happens, really, in life. But she told her mother she was afraid, and that she told her mother on more than one occasion that she felt someone was out to hurt her. But allegedly, she left the house carrying only a tan backpack. She was wearing blue jean shorts, a pink shirt, Nike shoes with a green neon swoosh, and her hair was in braids. She was wearing a gold chain necklace and a bangle bracelet. Now, it is also alleged that Brittany was seen later that same day at the home in a holler called Chapman, located in Louisa, Kentucky, who goes by the nickname Chicago. Unfortunately, there is no confirmation that she ever left West Virginia. This is all according to the Facebook page. I want to be very clear here. She's never been named as a suspect or a person of interest. He's never been arrested in any relation to her case. The people that said that she called them and told them. Now, this writer of this article says, I contacted the Mingo County Police Department for Freedom of Information Act request. My request was declined, and I was directed to the West Virginia State Police. I never received a response. In 2022, the family hired a private investigator named Jeff Lewis. Jeff Lewis took on the case, the search for Brittany, and this is where this story becomes even creepier. First off, West Virginia State Police never conducted any searches for Brittany. They never followed up on any leads. This is all according to her family, and it's all listed on the Facebook page, Missing Brittany Duff. If you don't live in West Virginia, you probably have never heard about the West Virginia police scandal. It actually becomes important in this case. According to WCHS, in 2022, Governor Jim Justice launched an investigation into the West Virginia State Police. WCHS Eyewitness News received an anonymous letter from within the police department. They did not want to sign their name to the letter, they said, because they feared retaliation. So Eyewitness News started looking into these allegations themselves. In 2023, federal investigators began investigating hidden cameras in the women's locker room, along with a storage container. According to WBOY News, there are 72 new lawsuits, not only about hidden cameras in the Junior Trooper Academy and women's locker rooms, but also sexual assault and physical assault towards women. Now stay with me because this all ties into Brittany's case. On June the 2nd, 2023, Trooper Cody Maynard responded to a shooting in Mingo County on Beach Creek Road. He was ambushed and shot. Sadly, Maynard passed away due to his injury. Sergeant Maynard was the chief investigator for Brittany's case. So let me tie this all together so it makes better sense. Because West Virginia State Police found themselves in the middle of this horrific scandal, all of their prior arrests and criminal cases may have gone through to see if any convictions were based on any of these state troopers' testimony. If so, those convictions could possibly be overturned. What's worse is Brittany Horn Duff's case was not given the attention it deserved because of alleged police misconduct and federal investigations that took place. Brittany's case was lost and ignored. Could it be that the people that Brittany possibly was informing on, these drug dealers, these people that she allegedly may have been involved with, were afraid that now that this was all going to get turned over to investigators, Homeland Security, and all this other stuff was involved, that they were going to really start investigating her case and really start investigating these claims that she was at this home in Louisa, Kentucky with this man and whoever else may have been involved. Were they afraid that that was all going to get out and that maybe this trooper, this Cody Maynard, maybe he knew more than he had ever told? And that's how this all ties into Brittany's case. Brittany's case was one of those cases that they feel was not properly investigated, and the people that possibly should have been questioned and looked into never were. And so they were probably afraid that whoever was assigned to look into Brittany's case would probably start finding out some facts. Brittany's family continues to hold candlelight vigils and conduct their own searches, going door to door, handing out flyers and hanging up flyers. They have climbed down into wells and searched through wooded areas, all with no help from law enforcement. Brittany's family has said on the Facebook page that they want to know what happened to her. They want to bring her home so they can lay her to rest. So if anyone has any information that may help them to find Brittany, they're asked to contact the Williamson Detachment of the West Virginia State Police at 304-235-6000.
Anytime anyone goes missing like this, especially someone who had a background such as Brittany had, rumors start to circulate, and especially in a small town. And one of the big rumors that went around during the time that Brittany went missing was that she was a police informant, or as some people would call it, a narc, that she was, carrying information about some of these drug dealers back to the police, working with them to try to bust these people. Did this rumor get back to these drug dealers? Is this the reason why she was in Louisa, Kentucky, if she really was? This was 2022. They could ping her phone and know where she was at, but the police did not investigate her case. It's my understanding, and if I'm wrong, I will correct myself. But they did not investigate her case as a missing person or an abduction. They said that she was an adult who disappeared on her own accord, on her own decision to just go away. Had they pinged her phone, they may have found where she was located at. I don't know. They said that the Lawrence County Police, that the Kentucky State Police would not work with the West Virginia State Police on this. They were letting the West Virginia State Police handle this as she was a citizen of Kermit, West Virginia. However, if she said in the phone call the last known whereabouts was Louisa, Kentucky, why did the state police in Kentucky or the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office or the Lawrence County Police refuse to get involved and did they even go out to that location where she told her friend she was? Her friend says she called in a frantic tone saying, I'm leaving Louisa. And I think that maybe she was trying to tip them off because maybe she knew that she was being taken from that location, and she probably suspected that she might not ever come back. This is a sad case. It's made even sadder that the supposed corruption that was taking place at that time overshadowed this and created even more victims. Brittany's family and her children, they'll grow up never knowing. They'll also grow up knowing that the police didn't have enough care for one of their own citizens to even look for her. And that's my personal opinion. And if I ever hear any new updates on Brittany's case, I will come back and do a follow-up. Thanks for watching.